Good day, RIZE guys. This is Tanking 101 with Megan Mall, and that there was the first kill of the match, a triple kill with the guided shell. It was easier than it should have been because the guy never flared out, and so that was an easy triple kill. I shouldn't have gotten that if the guy knew halfway what he was doing, but he didn't, obviously. And so here we go. Tanking 101. I want to basically just show you what I know on tanking so that you guys can maybe become better tankers yourselves. What I'm showing you here was basically what you need to know is where to place your hits on the tanks. And that's probably the most important thing in tanking is where you're placing your hits and when. And one of the most important things that I found is that um, the guy who usually hits first is going to end up the survivor after a maximum of about 3 or 4 hits. Game over. One of the two tanks will not survive. And so what I want to show you now is the easiest way to come out ahead of your tank battles. One thing you also need to be aware of is that in a tank, you're big, you're vulnerable, and everyone on the map wants to kill you. And so you're always going to have to be moving, moving and scanning, constantly scanning and moving, and having the sensors around is important. I don't usually run with them because I'm always moving and scanning around all the time, and so I don't really use that setup a lot. But usually, when you have a gunner who's got it, that's extremely important. It's extremely helpful. Again, I don't usually run with it because I'm usually with this setup, as you'll see here. It works best for me. Others might have other preferences like smoke, which I don't use as well. Um, I honestly don't even know why, but I just know that it hasn't really worked for me that much in the past, and I'm really comfortable with the setup that I've been using over the past couple of years. And so here we go. Here's a perfect example of a bunch of guys who want to kill me. You see there, I had to hit the wall that he was next to. That's all you have to do to get your kills off on these ground troops. And a lot of guys don't even know that. You're not really having to hit them dead on, but just close enough so that if the shockwave hits the wall, it'll do damage and or kill the ground troops there. And so I'm exposing a lot of cockroaches here, and they're just coming out of the woodworks all over the place. And so as they're coming out, I'm hopefully banging them back. And here we got a Jeep that we had to disable, and luckily Captain Guns was there to pick up the slack. And so we got a lot of guys here trying to they're hitting us with spawns and whatnot, and it's great to have a gunner who knows where the enemy is at, and then they're stopping them kind of thing. That's crucial there. And also crucial to have a couple guys like I've got here who are helping me out, giving me some support, and giving me some life to push on. Alright, up next is what I was telling you about as far as the crucialness of the placement of the hits. And I want you to notice very closely where I hit this next tank. It is basically what I call the headshot for the tank. It was up at the top of the tank where the lightest of the tank is, and then followed right up with then the guided missile. That combination is usually unstoppable. If you can get good at hitting the top of the tank, of the enemy tank first, and then following up with the guided shell, it's an unstoppable combination. Most people it's just, I don't care how many people you got fixing the tank, they'll just all die. It's just, there's just no way they could do anything at that point, because as the guided shell comes in, if they're outside of the tank fixing it, everyone around the tank is dust. in this next example, this is where a lot of people don't understand which points of the tank are more vulnerable. Um, he's hitting me. He was hitting me on the side, which is actually the best place to be hitting me in that position, because if he would have been hitting me dead on, he'd be doing less damage than on the side of the tank where the tracks are, or up at the top of the tank where if he would have hit me there, he could have got a one shot, one kill off the tank, or really done more than 50% damage with the one hit, and that would have been not good for me at all. Luckily, I had some support there that picked up the slack for me in that case, because I was already pretty banged up already. And so we're pushing on here on the flag. Um, Always have to be aware what's on your mini map, because you're running into some scenarios where you just get into a lot of trouble really fast, and you just got to have an exit to be getting out. So right here, I noticed there was a tank at the base, and I turn around immediately because I don't want him hitting me in the back end, and so he hits me on the front end. I follow up with a top hit, which at that point is a lot of damage, and come up with one more, and at that point it's disabled. He comes out, and he's vulnerable at that point. And oh, it's O-Dog. Oh, look at that. Oh, here's your Tanking 101 tape, O-Dog. Oh, and you want to clean up the slack always, so you don't want the enemy doing anything with those tanks, so you want to clean those up. Don't leave them behind. Make sure you just clean them up. Also, clean up the spawn vehicles, like the Jeeps and the Humvees and things like that. Get rid of them. There's no reason for them to be there if your teammates are not going to be using them. So just eliminate everything that the enemy team can use. In this next clip again, top hit to the tank, just for one shot disables, second hit they're out. And again, you don't need to hit these ground troops direct on, but just nearby, or a nearby object to them, a wall, a car in that case, or something that is nearby. You can skip a bullet right next to them basically, and it has a circumference of, I can't tell you exactly how much, but I know it basically by heart what the circumference of the explosion is, that you don't have to hit them dead on with, or just close enough where you can maim them, and then you can finish them off pretty easily at that point. And so use the tanks wisely, meaning don't just sit in one place. Always be moving about, scanning, moving, taking the flags. In this case, we're taking the final flag over here at their closest base, and just doing a sweep of what they would be coming out of in their spawn point, so that we're not vulnerable again from other vehicles. And so pushing back on their only strong points is really what the tanks should be used for most, and just constantly moving. And again, here's a perfect example. I didn't really aim much other than just hitting its general direction. There's not much brain power to this. You just need to come close, and that's all you need to really do. Getting close quickly is probably important with the tank, probably the most. So aiming quickly is really important. And I guess one of the rules you gotta kind of live by is going down with the ship, and that is, if you're in a position and everyone's busting you up, you can't do anything about it. There's really nothing else to do. In this case, I'm getting a repair tool, but you go down with the tank until it's almost at the end of just about to explode. So even if the enemy got into it, they would die. That way, they're not using these against you, and that's one thing you don't want to do. Here, I just wanted to do a quick small clip from that same game. I liked it, so I added it in there. Here's some nice small shot. Now in this next clip here, again, same example, but I guess just for the purposes of illustration, to show you again, top hit with a tank, in that light area up at the top where the gun is. One shot disable, followed up with the back shot. There's no stopping that. It's a no-brainer. Um, it's a two-shot kill at that point. There's nothing they can do. Again, quickly to the top shot of the tank, one shot disabled, followed up with the guided shell, and it's done. It's easy. Uh, I gotta tell you, you just can't make this more complicated than it is. And once you do it quite a few times and realize how to get there and what the lob factor is of the shells, you'll be an amazing tanker. Enjoy.